So right, guys, just a quick chat about the new liver and I call it liver TS. It's liver and tuna and shrimp. Now I've been doing it in three different sizes, mixed sizes. Mainly doing this for the simple reason of it's I personally like different size baits to bait around when I'm fishing. I just think it makes it far harder for the carp to suss their rigs out with weight. So I've gone with different sizes now. I've gone with what I'm calling pillars. Now these are these are 16mm pillar. Now they absolutely look absolutely mint. If you fish them on the side that way, so when they're on the air they're that way, and you just take a right thin slice off top and sit a pop up on top, and they really do sit nicely. Honestly, it's I've done really well on them. It's really high nutrition again. Like all the baits that I do have got really good nutritional value. I'm a great believer in that you should give carp something back for the sport they give us. Give them something back in a good food value base. So but I'm also a great believer in that at certain times of the year you're better off just giving them attraction right over food, but then again maybe it always contains decent amounts of food like I've just said. So I've done them in the pillars, and I've also done them in their 16mm rounds. Now there's absolutely all sorts going on in there, all sorts, honestly. It'll take me a while to get through it all. But there's a new thing that I've added to it is it's several different bugs that are boat dried and are crushed and then put together, and they're added to this. Now it's an out liver bait. It's got two sorts of liver. It's got a liquid pure liver, and it's also got a powdered dried liver in there. And but the flavour is I've added extra flavour with tuna and shrimp because I love tuna and shrimp as a flavour, and it's a subtle tuna and shrimp. It still smells of liver, but you can just get slightly the tuna. I do love fishing PVA sticks with tuna in summer. I'll just tuna straight out of the tin, the salted one. Just fish it straight out of the tin and they're into a PVA stick with a nice bait on it and like that. And I've seen the way carp react to tuna, and they absolutely love the stuff. Now there's all sorts going on in there. There's kelp in there, which I've noticed over the last few years, just how much kelp helps a carp digest food. It helps it digest it so much faster. It really does, honestly. There's maize in there. There's all sorts in there. There's two different kinds of fish meal. Now this is the winter one, so obviously it's a lower. Don't be thinking that the black in there is fish meal. It's not. It's it's the lower oil content fish meal powders that I've used within this, and it's also got a lot of seed in this. It's a bird seed boiler, really. You know, the actual base mix has got a lot of bird seed in it, so that's the round one. And then I've also got there's some 12mm barrels in there as well. Now it's I found this year that the smaller baits do really well. It's a fished a lot of small baits this year, and I've always done really well on them. So I've added them to it. So there's three different sizes actually in that are actually in this flavour. If you ask for that, then I will do you three different sizes. But if you don't ask for it, then you'll just get either standard rounds or 12mm or whatever you ask for. Really, it's what I will do for you. It is definitely a great bait for it's a great bait for any time of year, don't get me wrong, but for winter especially, I've always found liver to be a great bait. So that's the liver one. Now I'm not sure if I've done a YouTuber blog on the new the new bags. But this is the way it's coming from now. I'm just in there 2 seconds. Now when you get them, they're gonna be vacuum sealed, and the file packed bags. So they're never gonna lose the freshness. And it were a big thing that I wanted. Vacuum sealed bags, because they keep bait far fresher than any others as far as I'm concerned. Just out and out plastic seems to make even the driest of bait sweat. Nah, if there's a little bit of moisture in them, they will sweat. But these liver baits that I've just showed you, they're a shelf life. So they'll last as long as you want, really. I mean, though the shelf life, I would never keep them around for too long. I really wouldn't, honestly. I do think bait can lose its attraction the longer it's kept, you know what I mean? And I use a lot of bait, you know what I mean? That's not because I get my bait for free. I use bait as it's needed. On some waters I might only use 1 kilo. Some waters I might only use 2 kilo. But this year I've been using a hell of a lot of crumb. Nah, I don't know if you've ever seen a kilo of crumb, but it looks absolutely nothing. It comes to up about here in bag. So it doesn't look very much at all, a kilo of crumb. So but I do love using crumb, and I do love using the way that I do with chops and flake. I do love crumb, chops and flake. I really, really do like the way that I've been doing the actual flake. Is I've been doing it on a cheese grater, because it gives you long strands of first of all I'll roll what I call a boilie block, just like a block of cheese, and then once it's boiled and it's done and it's dried a while, I'll run it on a cheese grater, and it gives me nice flakes. That gives me nice long flakes. Now when they're laid on bottom, it looks like a big food item, but the minute there's movement over it by a fish, it actually just goes to crumb. But it's just so much traction. I put all my success down, near enough down this year, all my fishing to the use of crumb and flake. It's just been deadly. It really has. It's worked wonders for me this year. So it's something I will definitely take through into next season's fishing, and that's for definite. Now this is just a bait that's curing in rock salt. I've been getting rock salt now for a while, smashing it up into small pieces until it goes to an actual fine dust. And then once the baits have been boiled and they've been air dried for 24 hours, and that is when I will tub them up, and they actually sweat. They will sweat in the tub. I'll add the rock salt at that stage, and then I will just keep burping the pop-up tub throughout that process, and eventually that moisture stops because the salt pulls it out of there. You're naturally making anything shelf life by adding rock salt to it. It's a natural preservative, and it will preserve anything. But if a bait's cured right, like these are the liver tuna and shrimp. Now I've rolled these for a friend who's asked me to roll him some, and honestly, you've no idea just there. You're pretty much fishing with a piece of salt on the end of a rig, but they're actually pop-ups. But you're actually fishing with it's near enough. It's a block of salt, really. You could still do it a little bit long curing, I will be honest with you, but they're good to go as they are. So, and I've also upped the packaging with them as well. So they're looking nice as well. It was a pencil, what is it? A watercolor pencil drawing. And my favourite rig, hinge rig. Had to be, didn't it? You know what I mean? It's my favourite. It's not my favourite colour though. He did red, and I didn't want to mess about having to change it. I'd waited long enough for it, but I really wanted it to be yellow, because yellow's the colour I love better. So that's the cured beers. Now I'm also doing wafters as well in that same as cured beers. So it's not only just about rock salt, even though rock salt plays a massive part in my angling at the right time of year. But I've been reading a lot just over the past few weeks about stuff that Mark Holmes has been writing, and honestly, it's kind of opened my eyes to a few things. You know what I mean? I thought it ran out and that tactic that we used just before the carp was spawning, and perhaps just after spawning. A month really, just before the spawning and just after the drafting for about a month. But I was wrong. It's pretty good used at any time of the year. So he's saying, and it does it has no bad effects on the fish. Now, don't get me wrong. I personally wouldn't use rock salt at this time of year. And Mark Holmes knows far more about bait than I will. It's someone I like, someone I follow. It's someone who I take notice. If he says something, I take notice of it. He's a bait genius. Him and Gary Bates, I listen to both of them. They're both very, very knowledgeable when it comes to bait. But the thing is I don't agree with giving them too much salt. It's why I tend to, I will salt. If it was early spring, then I would put a little bit of salt on these. But I would also spot out rock salt in small bits, small pieces, chunks, into the swim. Now I've seen with my own eyes that the carp will dig to get every morsel of that rock salt, and it's best bought in a block, not from a supermarket. It's made to look good on eye, the pink stuff and all that. I was buying a block. It's like a white creamy colour. But the one I got was white because they want it to look white. They want it to look better on a human's eye. See, so humans think that white's more appealing to the eye, hence the white. But it is rock salt. It is rock salt, and it's just smashed down into a dust, which is it's pretty hard to do. And all I'll tell you now, honestly, it took me some smashing to get it to smash down. Now these are another rock salt bait that I'm doing at the minute, but these are for me. Now, these are critically balanced baits. What I'm doing now, I've balanced them out so they just sink with the weight of a size 6 ridge monkey, and every single one of them it kind of hovers and then it will sit really slowly with a ridge monkey size 6. Now it has took some doing, but I've finally found an hook that I like, and a pattern I like. What do you do? I like all the patterns. I like. Well, I've only used two of them: the Kerchang and the Chod. I like both of them, but as you can see, they've already started to take that rock salt in. And the great thing about rock salt is the baits will suck that rock salt in. But then once you've done with that salt, I take the salt out, lay it on a tray, and just leave it, let it all dry off, and then rebag it, and I'll use it again. Now, you're not really going to get any flavour. No flavour is going to penetrate through salt. It's a bitter flavour. No flavour is going to penetrate through it. But the thing is once it's, you see that's a great. If you can see that's a great. I've just been explaining to you, the baits will stick to the baits, and then the baits will absorb it. They will pull it in to it, right into the core of it as well. If you bust one open and you taste the middle of it, it is really, really salty. You're fishing with a piece of salt on hook as a pop-up. Now, I'm convinced that it ain't only, it's not only the flavour that's of the salt that's attracting them, and not something that they may need it, but I'm not convinced of that at all. I'm more convinced, I will be honest with you, I'm more convinced on that it's for a while. It's especially if you're fishing with a cured bait that really is a block of salt, a little block of salt on an hook. I'm convinced that the area around that bait for a short while, the EC and the ppm of the water is affected by the salt. It has to be. You tank test it and you check it, and I'm telling you now, it affects the ppm of the water around a bait for longer than you think. It also affects it also affects the parts per million of dissolved salts in water. So the carp are designed to pick things up like that, and then I'm convinced it's that's attracting the fish over it needing it as some kind of food supplement. I'm far more convinced it's attracting them because of that change in water, and they're realising that there's something different in that environment, that they're coming in and they're getting their heads down on bait, and then they're taking that salt because they know that it's good for them at that time of year. They do need bits of salt. Carp made up a saline. It's if cutting open like it's you can get a bit of salt made up a bit of salt. It's just a natural thing that I do think they need, but I'm a great believer in that there's more to it than just they want it as a food source. I think it's got a lot more to do with the EC and the ppm being affected in that area for a short while, especially when I'm putting pieces of salt into the swim, and it's dissolving over a short while. It's going to affect a change in the water. It's going to affect the parts per million of dissolved salts, and it is also going to affect the pH of the water as well. 100%, it definitely will affect the pH of the water, the dissolved salts, parts per million, and also the EC. It's gonna affect all of them three. Now, another thing is the glugs that I've been using that goes with the liver. I've done it. It's been done this colour on purpose. It's a red colour. Liver's red, and when I used to use liver before, I used to spot liver as liver, as blitz. We used to blend it up and like a slush, and then add ground bait to it, and we didn't actually spot it out. Actually, we put it out in ground bait bowls, and it went down. But when it got into the water, it's the liver broke off it, and it definitely pulls fish in more. It was a better bait in winter and autumn than it was in summer. It worked in summer, but winter and autumn it really did work. It really did. We used to Mark Holmes calls it chumming for him, and he couldn't put it any better than that. That's what you're doing. It's pretty much no different to chumming for shark. It's how they do them rubby dubby bags. We just something in it that's gonna hold the blood while they shake the bag, and it's carp predators. When it all comes down to it, carp's a predator. It eats other fish, and it will probably majority of their diet is other fish. It's how they caught on dead baits. It's how he catches them all the time. More comes at certain times of the year. So I went down the route of the red colour for the liver on purpose, because I wanted it to you've got the attraction of the liver in the bait, but then you've also got the liver in the glug, and you've also got that colour of that. It's a dark colour, so it's going to leak out, and it's going to colour the water up. Now, anything that colours the water up, almost certainly, if a carp is in that area, it will get its attention, and it will drop down. And once it tastes the bait, there's a good chance you're going to catch it. Now, it's all about getting them to drop down in the first place, and all we can really do in winter is just try things, you know what I mean? But I'm going on things that we've tried and tested over a very long time, and it works. So that's just an insight into the liver bait, really, and the rock salt, and my thinking of why rock salt works as a cured bait. So have a good night, guys, and See you laters.